There's no denying that The Simpsons changed television forever. For more than 3 decades, this animated sitcom has made people laugh, think, and sometimes even argue. But among its thousands of jokes, there's one moment, one single joke that went too far. A joke so controversial that it was censored, banned, and even erased in several countries. This is the story of the joke that got The Simpsons censored around the world. How a few seconds of humor turned into one of the most debated moments in TV history. When The Simpsons first appeared in 1989, it was unlike anything people had seen before. It wasn't just a cartoon. It was a reflection of modern life, poking fun at politics, family, religion, and society itself. It dared to say things other shows wouldn't even touch. And that's exactly what made it so loved, and sometimes so hated. From Bart's misbehavior to Homer's stupidity, everything was exaggerated yet painfully real. But as the show's popularity grew, so did its ability to offend people. And one episode in particular crossed a line that many thought should never be crossed. The episode was called The Cartridge Family. It aired in 1997 during the show's 9th season. On the surface, it was just another funny storyline. Homer Simpson decides to buy a gun for self-pee protection after a wave of crime in Springfield. But what was meant as satire soon turned into controversy. In the episode, Homer becomes obsessed with his new gun, waving it around carelessly and even using it to open beer cans or turn off the TV. The jokes were meant to mock America's gun culture, showing how absurd it looks when ordinary people treat deadly weapons like toys. But not everyone got the message. When the episode aired in the United States, it immediately sparked backlash. Some viewers laughed, others were furious. Gun rights activists accused The Simpsons of promoting an anti-gun agenda. Meanwhile, gun control advocates said the episode was too casual about firearms. Both sides were angry, and that's a rare thing to achieve in television. But the real trouble started when the show reached international audiences. In the United Kingdom, the episode was heavily edited before broadcast. Certain scenes, like Homer pointing the gun at his own family, were cut entirely. Some European countries, like Germany and the Netherlands, refused to air the episode at all, calling it irresponsible. In South America and parts of Asia, local broadcasters either skipped it or replaced it with reruns of older episodes. Even years later, when streaming services like Disney Plus started adding The Simpsons, The Cartridge Family came with a warning label about sensitive themes. But the censorship didn't stop there. Other Simpsons jokes over the years have faced similar treatment, from political references to religious humor. But The Cartridge Family stood out because it struck at a global issue. Gun violence that looked very different depending on where you lived. In the US, it was a debate. In other countries, it was a tragedy. What Americans saw as satire, others saw as an offensive joke about something deadly serious. John Schwartzel, the writer of the episode, later said the goal was never to make light of violence. The joke was meant to highlight how dangerous it is when people who shouldn't have guns do. But satire is tricky. It depends on the audience understanding the irony. And sometimes that irony gets lost in translation. What was intended as social commentary was instead seen as a tasteless joke. Interestingly, The Simpsons has always walked that fine line between humor and offense. It's part of what made it iconic. The show has mocked presidents, religions, corporations, and even entire countries, including its own. But The Cartridge Family was different because it hit a nerve that was too close to reality. It came out at a time when the world was already struggling with mass shootings and political tension. For many networks, airing the episode felt risky, almost disrespectful. Still, despite all the bans and edits, fans continued to defend the episode as one of the show's smartest pieces of satire. They argue that it doesn't glorify gun ownership. It ridicules it. Homer's recklessness is the point. The joke is on him, not the issue itself. And that's the kind of layered humor that made The Simpsons so powerful in the first place. It wasn't just about making people laugh. It was about making them think, even when the truth was uncomfortable. Over time, The Cartridge Family became a symbol of how The Simpsons has constantly tested the boundaries of what television can say. The fact that a cartoon could cause governments and broadcasters to panic says everything about its impact. It proved that even animated comedy could challenge real-world issues, sometimes in ways that were too raw for comfort. And yet, despite all the controversy, The Simpsons survived. It's still running after more than 30 years, with hundreds of episodes, countless jokes, and a legacy that no other cartoon has matched. But every now and then, fans remember that one episode, the one that went too far, and they realize just how fearless this show really was. So the next time you laugh at a Simpsons joke, remember, this isn't just a cartoon. It's a mirror of society showing us how ridiculous we can be. The joke that got The Simpsons censored worldwide wasn't just about guns. It was about us, our fears, our overreactions, and our inability to laugh at our own reflection. Maybe that's why, even after all these years, The Simpsons still matters. Because behind every outrageous gag and clever punchline, there's always a truth, one that's sometimes too real for comfort. And that's what makes it not just a comedy, but a legend.